We are grateful to be joined tonight by so many state, county, as well as city leaders, and I would like to recognize them at this time. We would like to recognize Ariel Volk from the office of Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, Ohio State Senator Michael Reynolds, Ohio State Representative Mary Lightbody, Michelle, I apologize, the Honorable Cornell Robertson, Franklin County Engineer. We also have members of Gahanna City Council with us. Stephen Renner, who's the president, Vice President Trenton Weaver, Karen Angelou, Marissa Bowers, Nancy McGregor, Kaylee Padova, Michael Schnitzer, as well as Gahanna City Attorney Way Malarski. We also have members of Gahanna Jefferson School Board with us. We have President Burl Brown, Pickle Antonio, Daphne Mooring, Vice President, Kara Coates, Dion Manley, Sue Horn. We also have with us Superintendent Dr. Tracy Deagle, District Treasurer Scott Gooding, Jefferson Township Trustee Rich Corder, Mifflin Township Trustee Dick Angelou, Mifflin Township Fire Chief Fred Kauser, as well as incoming Mifflin Township Fire Chief Brian Dunleavy. We would also welcome Patrick Lasinski from Columbus Metropolitan Library, the CEO there. Thank you all for attending. So as I did mention, I am a graduate of Gahanna. My family moved here in the middle of 8th grade, which as an 8th grader could be really traumatic for no reason looking back. But I'm really, really glad they did. My parents are back there, Gail and Robert, best decision ever moving me to Gahanna, and I can tell you why. It was my junior year when I took part in the TV program at the high school, now known as Lincoln Live, but then it was WGLH. And it was at that moment I found what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I can safely say, had I not moved to Gahanna, I probably would not be here or following my passion. So that really just speaks to the power that our school system, the city, could have on the impressionable youth here in the city. So again, thank you to all the educators and the folks that made that happen for me. So Gahanna obviously has a very, very special place in my heart. Moving forward, we would like to welcome someone here, Gahanna Council President Stephen Renner, to share some comments of his own. But before that, we do have Franklin County Engineer Cornell Robertson with a presentation.
Good evening, fine city of Gahanna. My name is Cornell Robertson, honored to serve as your Franklin County Engineer. The three things most important to me are my spiritual faith, honoring our country, and my family. So I want to begin by saying thank you for beginning tonight's ceremony with the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Very well done by Troop 898 and Pastor for the invocation. The Franklin County Engineer's Office, we are focused on transportation infrastructure, roads and bridges, sidewalks, pedestrian facilities, drainage, even snow and ice removal. We are an agency of action, innovation, and collaboration. And it's that element of collaboration that brings me here tonight with this special presentation, a proclamation of appreciation. It's very short, only 30 pages or so. It won't take me long to get through it. But I would like to read one paragraph from it, if you don't mind. I want to salute Mayor Jadwin and the city of Gahanna for their continued efforts to pursue development and promote safety through the roundabout improvement at Taylor Station Road and Claycraft Road. This project is located in the center of Gahanna's industrial zone and will improve safety, reduce congestion, and enhance public services. It has been awarded Franklin County Transportation Improvement District funding through ODOT's Office of Transportation and Economic Development, which will help further advance the city's intent to provide safe paths for motorists, pedestrians, and cyclists. Mayor Jadwin and Gahanna City Council, I want to say thank you for your interest in safe and efficient transportation, and I look forward to our continued collaboration for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you for that proclamation. Nothing like a little bit of breaking news there in the middle of a speech. We would now like to welcome Stephen Renner with a presentation.
With all these phones going off. Okay, well, good evening. And I know it's actually really cold in here, so I'll try to be brief. I know, I'm trying to actually make sure that I don't pass out up here. So, if you see me, jump down or anything like that, just give me a bottle of water, I'll row back up. Well, good evening, Mayor, my fellow colleagues on council, and our distinguished guests. I am Stephen Renner, City Council Representative for Ward 1, and I've had the deep pleasure to serve the residents of Gahanna for 11 years now. Over that time, we have accomplished so much as a city. We have worked tirelessly to improve the lives of our citizens and to make our community a best place to live, to work, to raise a family, to play, and to relax. And it was not always easy, far from it. I remember in my first few years on council, residents would come to us and share their desires, their wants, their needs, their ideas, but without a dedicated resource for capital maintenance and improvements, we had aging parks equipment, deteriorating roads, and increasing costs in operations. In some cases, our buildings were just plain falling apart. But then, in 2019, everything changed. We made our needs known, and so many of you, city employees, elected officials, and bright and active residents, helped deliver our message. Thank you. Thank you deeply. Because of you, our city came together, rallying to a singular communal cause to transform. You brought forth the birth of Gahanna 2.0. Yes, there was a pause in 2020 with the global pandemic. But thanks to all of you, Gahanna was able to recover from the pandemic much faster than anyone would have predicted. And now it's time for us to keep our promises. We need to focus our efforts beyond the basic core services of city and pursue the increasing quality of life for all our residents. We will promote economic development and job creation, improve transportation and mobility, address affordable and fair housing needs to ensure everyone has a place to call home, adopt a parks master plan to improve our parks, trails, and recreational programs, and of course, transform this empty office building into a new city hall, a new home for Gahanna Division Police, and a new senior center. You'll hear all of that and more in a few minutes from Mayor Jadwin. I am very proud of the work we have accomplished over the 11 years, through the ups and downs, the good times and the bad. But I am most proud of what we've done. We've done it together. So to my colleagues, Nancy, Karen, Mike, Marissa, Trenton, Kaylee, to Mayor Jadwin, to our department heads, and to all the city employees, I know how committed you are, and it's a great pleasure to work with each and every one of you. By working together and staying focused on our goals, I am confident that we can build a brighter future for our residents and a stronger, more resilient Gahanna. As always, I'm at your service. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Council Member Renner, that was what we call a tease, kind of leading into the big part of the presentation there. We would now like to join me in welcoming Gahanna Mayor Lori Jadwin to the podium.
I might talk a little longer than Stephen. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending the 2013. It is warm in here. The 2023 State of the City Address for the City of Gahanna. It is my honor to greet all of you tonight and to present you with a comprehensive account of the great movement forward that we are experiencing in the City of Gahanna. And I do want to make a little pause there and thank the Franklin County EMA and our public safety folks, because we know the Amber Alert system is alive and well in 825 Tech Center Drive. I sincerely thank Council President Renner for his comments, as he provided a wonderful overview of what we are going to talk about tonight. Tonight, we come together to talk about take a look back at the strides that we have made and to look forward to where we are headed together in the future. In order to be able to move anything forward, there must be strong leadership and collaboration amongst the city leaders. And I'm extremely grateful for the collaborative relationship that I share with our council president, as well as with our members of council and our city attorney. Local government at its very core is about driving results. Results that provide long-term quality of life and continued community growth. It is the only level of government where you go to work every day and immediately see the impacts of what you are doing in the community where you live, the positive difference that you are making. Local government is about coming together in open communication, setting aside politics, and finding a mutual path forward for the best interests of the city and its residents. Mr. Renner, I can't see you now with these lights here, but I thank you for your collaborative leadership and for the heart that you show to this city, as evident in his comments tonight. The theme of tonight's 2023 address is Framing the Future for Gahanna, as that is exactly the focus of the work that we have been doing. Over the past 3 years, we have been laying the foundation for the future of this city. Back in 2020, when I began my first term as mayor, cities around the country were being ravaged by a global pandemic, and our daily focus was on survival. This administration worked hard to ensure that our residents could remain in their homes and that our businesses could remain open, and that the city would be able to consistently deliver quality services to our residents day in and day out. Today, I'm very proud to say that we are no longer surviving, we are thriving. With smart planning and result-driven leadership, Gahanna has returned to a community where our residents and our businesses are growing and flourishing. I am excited that people all over Central Ohio are talking about Gahanna again. We are back on their radar. Framing the future by its nature recognizes that we have to start with a solid foundation, a framework of sorts, from building a strong and experienced team to modernizing outdated code, to finding ways to streamline our operations to improve efficiencies in the way we are delivering services to residents. We have established and are continuing to establish the solid foundation needed to move this city forward. A critical part of that framework is our partners. Not only the 3 branches of government that fortify the democratic process, but also our partners within the community. Each one has a different piece of the puzzle, but together we create a beautiful neighborhood. While the administration is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the city, I again must acknowledge and thank our city council for their efforts. They are the body that implements legislation, and they set the budget that allows us to do the work that we do for our residents. I thank our city attorney, who ensures that we are operating in conformance with the law and that all branches of government are acting in the best interests of our city and of our residents. Next, it is essential that I recognize our community partners, our trustee friends at Mifflin Township and Jefferson Township, Gahanna Jefferson Public Schools, including its school board members, and Superintendent Dr. Tracy Deagle, who has already become an invaluable collaborator with the city. Our dedicated board and commission members who volunteer their time in service to other Gahanna residents. To the heart and compassion of the city, being the multitude of nonprofit organizations that provide services and programs year-round to support our businesses and our residents. Many of them were here tonight, and hopefully you had a chance to talk with them in the other room. Lastly, but most importantly, I must recognize our residents and our businesses. People who are invested in this community in every sense of the word. You are the reason we do the work that we do. We are here to serve you. Every day there are hardworking, imaginative, courageous, and caring people who enrich this city. I just named many of them. But that description must also include the talented and skilled individuals who go to work for the city of Gahanna every day. The pandemic cast a large shadow on the country that led to a major workforce challenge. In 2022, the Great Resignation, those infamous words, put a strain on employers across the nation, especially on state and local governments, and the city of Gahanna was not immune. I am proud to say that our city council understands that investing in human capital is equally critically important to the ability to provide a high quality of service for our residents. And I'm extremely grateful for the tremendous work of our entire staff, many of whom are here tonight, and the incredible leadership team that works hand in hand with me every day, helping to move our city forward and preparing for our future. I'd like to introduce them. I don't know if you want to stand up. If you say that, I'm just going to call your name. Director of Public Safety, Tim Becker. Chief of Police, Jeffrey Spence. Senior Director of Operations, Kevin Schultz. Senior Director of Administrative Services, Miranda Vollmer. Senior Deputy Director of Administrative Services, Corey Weibensinger. Director of Court Services, Amanda Parker. Director of Economic Development, Nate Strum. It is not a terrible picture. Director of Engineering, Tom Comlang. Director of Finance, Joanne Burry. Director of Parks and Recreation, Stephanie Farrell. Director of Planning, Michael Blackford. And last but not least, Director of Public Service, Sean Anvers. While we have seen our share of transition in 2022, we also have welcomed 115 years of collective experience and expertise to our leadership team, to your team. Adding to that are the many years of collective experience of the 215 team members who serve the residents of Gahanna every day. Many of them not only work in Gahanna, they live in Gahanna. They all take great pride in their work, and they take great pride in their community. And they invest countless hours to making Gahanna the best city possible for our residents and our businesses. It is appropriate that we are gathered here tonight at 825 Tech Center Drive, the building that will serve this community for the next several decades. It is this facility that will frame the future for the residents of the city of Gahanna and the people who work here. With us tonight are members of the team of MSA Design and Alford, who are leading us in the transition from what you see today to what will become a modern, state-of-the-art facility that will support our police operations, our city hall functions, and our senior center programming. 825 Tech Center is symbolic of the level of collaboration, smart investment, and forward-thinking effort that is vital to successfully position this city for future growth. It truly is one of the success stories that we had in 2022. But it's not the only success that we have seen as a community. 2022 really was the first year of normal operations under my administration after spending 2 years dealing with the pandemic. It was the first full year without restrictions in place. It was the first full year of in-person meetings, and it was the first full year of programming and events. In addition to those firsts, we saw historic numbers in what we were able to achieve. Here are just a few of the numbers from 2022 that illustrate the positive movement forward that we realized for the city. From nearly 30,000 calls for service answered by our police to $298 million in new capital investment, the numbers are significant. But numbers only provide a peek into the story. What do those numbers really mean for Gahanna residents? And how do those numbers impact the daily lives of people in this community? Let's take a look at the public safety impacts in 2022. Gahanna residents expect and deserve a safe community in which to live, and they expect first responders who will be there when they are needed the most. That is what was successfully delivered in 2022. 2022 is the first full year that we saw operations in the Communications Center, something we celebrated in December 21 when it opened. That center co-locates dispatchers for police, fire, and EMS, putting them all in one location so that they can share information and dispatch aid more quickly. I am pleased to share with you that with nearly 30,000 calls for service and more than 9,000 911 calls handled at that center last year, the co-location of technicians has translated to a reduction in response time of 2.1 seconds on average by our Gahanna police officers. 2.1 seconds faster. When seconds matter the most, our public safety team is working as efficiently as possible to provide you, our residents, with the aid that you need. But it is not just a matter of having the technology or the technicians in place. because you need the field officers to respond. The 7 new officers that were hired for the city of Gahanna in 2022 translates to a total of 20 new officers that have been hired with the city since 2020, a direct factor in that reduction in response time. The hiring of new officers has also enabled us to stay ahead of officer retirements, thus ensuring continuity in the delivery of service to our residents and continuity in the delivery of public safety services in our schools through our SRO program. The hirings also have made it possible for the division to establish the new position of Community Liaison Officer. For residents, that means that we now have an officer expressly dedicated to being out in the community, functioning as a visible and present link between the division, community organizations, and individuals in need, and providing longer-term resources that field officers simply are unable to provide. These successes demonstrate our dedication to providing the highest level of policing services to our community, and they demonstrate the division's ongoing commitment to building trust with our residents day in and day out, today and in the future. But it's not enough just to have a safe city. Investing in our infrastructure is critical to maintaining a highly functioning city and to maintaining a high quality of life for our residents. The $6.1 million plus of issue $12 invested in roadway maintenance last year translates to 7.5 miles of roadway that was rebuilt and repaved in 2022. Those numbers translate to more than 27 miles of roadway that have been rebuilt and repaved just in the last 3 years at an investment level of more than $14 million. To put that into perspective, having a dedicated capital stream has allowed us to transition from simply repairing roads in piecemeal fashion to now being able to strategically invest in the infrastructure that is critical to creating a long-term, sustainable future for the city. But beyond strong infrastructure, every community that strives to be a desirable location to live and work also must have a robust, active system of parks and recreation programs for the public to use and to enjoy. The $875,000 invested in parks and rec projects last year brought to residents the construction of a new splash pad at Gahanna swimming pool, the first amenity added to the pool in decades, after years of feedback from residents that they wanted to see improvements and amenities added to that area. Those dollars also meant that underutilized tennis courts at Friendship Park were transformed into pickleball courts to meet the growing demand, and it's growing demand, I'm telling you, and competition for programming space for that sport, and expanding amenities available for recreational activities that continue to evolve and to grow. Dollars were invested in mobility improvements, such as the trail path at Trapp Park, which was updated and widened to provide a safer, more accessible route for families and children who utilize that park. Resurfacing work was completed on deteriorating basketball courts. New signage was added to enhance and modernize our park entrances, and renovations to park restrooms and fence repairs were also completed. These are all quality of life investments for our residents for the long term, investments that enhance mobility and accessibility within our community, and ensure that amenities are available for an entire lifespan, thereby positioning the city for continued evolution as the Central Ohio region continues to expand. As with the growth that is happening around us, Gahanna also is seeing a diverse economy of opportunities, a blending of local small businesses with well-known brands, as well as large-scale industrial companies that are locating to or expanding in Gahanna. 2022 saw projects come to completion, saw new employers moving into the marketplace, and saw plans announced for new companies that will be joining Gahanna's economic landscape. Projects such as ADB Safegate Center of Innovation, Walnut Creek Surgical Suites, Ohio Gastro, Ultimate Solutions, and Columbus Aesthetics and Plastic Surgery. We saw projects break ground and begin to take shape, bringing the promise of new and modern facilities and services to our community, including multiple medical buildings at the Crescent and Central Park, construction of industrial buildings in the city's eastern edge, much needed expansion of our housing inventory, and of course, construction beginning on a new high school campus that will serve Gahanna families for generations to come. Gahanna's economy is centered on small businesses, and we saw significant growth in that arena as well, with many openings and expansions of businesses in the food and beverage industry, as well as retail and professional services. But what does that mean for Gahanna residents? Over the last 2 years, we've seen nearly $500 million of new capital investment in our city. While that number is significant, it is the 14 new construction and expansion projects and the 851 jobs realized in 2022 that truly matter for Gahanna residents. Our economic development and planning activities are about our people. My administration remains focused on pursuing and supporting economic projects that make a positive difference in our community and projects that create quality employment opportunities for all. These are the types of projects that we are pursuing. These numbers reflect that we are creating quality family-sustaining jobs in our community in sectors that are as close to being recession-proof as possible. The economic areas where we are experiencing the most growth include the fields of medical, manufacturing, distribution, and logistics. They are sectors that have withstood the test of time and that will enable Gahanna to not only thrive, but to drive the Central Ohio region. Ultimately, attracting high-quality jobs to Gahanna ensures that we are able to consistently deliver quality services to our residents and ensure a high quality of life for our residents. The role of local government is to provide our residents with essential services to sustain a strong quality of life. In order to do that, we need income to cover the cost of those services and to cover the cost of the people needed to provide those services. The city's revenue is largely generated from income tax, which is derived from the businesses located in the city. Businesses require workers, which means that we need residents and visitors. To attract residents and visitors, we have to be able to offer a high quality of life, a safe community, strong road system, diversity of affordable housing options, recreational activities, parks. And in order to be able to provide the services that are needed and wanted by those residents and business and visitors, we need people to do the work. The absence of any one of these blocks or the lack of growth in any one of these blocks breaks the circle and the circle fails. The number and types of projects that we are pursuing and the number and types of projects that we are attracting are the essence of smart economic development, and they are symbols of the momentum of success that the city is achieving. We have been able to reach these successes by ensuring that every day we focus on the public value, always striving to ensure that the work we are doing brings value to our city and, most importantly, value to our residents. The passage of Issue 12 in May of 2019 no doubt provided stability and the basis for us to begin to address long-deferred maintenance on our capital infrastructure, including our roadways, playgrounds, trails, facilities. But having a dedicated funding source available to address our needs was only step one. Beyond that, it takes effective leadership and effective financial stewardship. And part of that stewardship is to reduce reliance upon taxpayer dollars today and in the future by pursuing outside funding sources for projects, something that has been a priority for my administration. I'm pleased to share that in 2022, we received $575,000 in outside funding to support projects in the city, reducing the need to spend valuable taxpayer dollars and allowing us to redirect those dollars into other needs in the community. Thanks to a grant from SWACO, we launched the city's first ever food waste disposal program, creating an opportunity for residents to dispose of food waste in a secure and sustainable manner. More than 300 residents are participating in the program, and if you want to sign up, I think there's a table out there in the lobby. But that program was not the only step that we made toward a more sustainable Gahanna in 2022. A grant that we received from the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission enabled us to partner with The Ohio State University in taking the next step in developing Gahanna's first ever citywide sustainability plan. In coming months, public input will be sought on the plan with the goal of having a finalized sustainability plan adopted by council by the end of the year. Every investment that we make must be a smart investment. It requires a vision and a strategy for the wise use of taxpayer dollars, and it requires responsible fiscal management to ensure that valuable taxpayer dollars are used for the purpose for which they are intended. Effective fiscal responsibility has enabled us to move forward, and those skills will continue to lead us in the future as we grow the positive transformations that have been happening in our city over the last 3 years.
May of 2019, issue 12 passed, getting ready to move into the future, and then the pandemic hit. based on the modeling that we ran and the decisions that were made, and the items that were reduced so we can continue operating into 2020, we were very successful. With the financial position that we are in right now, we're able to move forward with our strategic planning as well as the capital improvement plan. Both of those together will definitely frame the future for Gahanna, identifying what is most important to the city in order for it to be successful, and what can we do to create improvements for the residents as we move forward. Fiscal stewardship and responsibility is the ultimate as far as running government. You have valuable tax dollars that are coming in. You want to make sure those are used as intended and for the purposes they were intended for. And also making sure that they provide value, not only continuing the services that we're providing, but how can we expand on those services? How can we make them more efficient?
2022 was a very strong year financially for the city of Gahanna, and through conservative and prudent budgeting, we've really positioned the city to be able to address the long-run needs of the community, and the CIP is a critical component of that, and being able to plan for various capital items, including streets, bridges, trails, sidewalks, as well as playground and parks infrastructure. Issue 12, by law, established a restricted capital improvement fund where those dollars that are allocated to that fund cannot be used for anything other than capital improvements. One of the benefits of a capital improvement plan is that it allows residents the visibility to be assured that their tax dollars are being invested in a strategic and financially responsible manner. Capital improvement plan is effectively a multi-year roadmap or blueprint for how the city will address its long-run capital needs. Some of those include maybe obvious items like the city's existing street maintenance program, items such as bridges, the city's existing trail infrastructure, and maybe lesser-known projects. There are also some advantages in planning for large-scale capital items that are necessary to accommodate the city's growing needs. One of those items would be the new combined City Hall and Public Safety facility over at 825 Tech Center Drive. The effective maintenance and planning for the capital expenditures is essential to residents' quality of life every single day. The last few years, the city has passed incrementally larger capital budgets. We've significantly paid down the infrastructure backlog facing the community in recent years. In 2023 and beyond, the city is poised well to continue that momentum.
We are entering 2023 with tremendous momentum and unparalleled economic growth, and we have no intention of slowing down. Because of that, we must continue to build the roadmap for the future to continue the upward trajectory that we are on. With the new $20 billion behemoth happening up the road, you know that I word nobody wants to talk about anymore? Gahanna must remain competitive and central to every significant discussion that is taking place today around Central Ohio about the opportunities that are now available. Dedicated leadership has laid the foundation over the last 3 years, and now we are building upon that foundation. Some of the projects currently underway, while not glamorous, are necessary, as they are defining the strategy for our future investments and for the future quality of life for our residents. The Comprehensive Parks Master Plan and the city's first ever capital improvement plan, both of which will be adopted this year, are two projects that will guide us in decision-making and investment strategies for decades to come. Additionally, I am excited to share that just within the last couple of weeks, we are awarded a grant from the Ohio Department of Transportation to develop a citywide active transportation plan, which will outline the needs and strategies for building safe, convenient, and accessible transportation options within the city. Work on that project is expected to begin with ODOT later this summer. After nearly 2 years of work, the next few months will also see opportunities for public input on the rewrite of the city's zoning code. Gahanna's code was written in the late 1950s. It is convoluted, it is outdated, and it no longer reflects the needs of our community. We've been working on this project for nearly 2 years, and we are finally nearing the stage where we can gather public input and input from our council, and we're with the goal of having a final code that truly frames the future for Gahanna, adopted by the end of this year. Of course, one of the biggest projects that will frame the future for Gahanna is where we are right now, and it will have air conditioning. 825 Tech Center Drive. A year ago, I stood up the road before you at State of the City, and I said that one of our challenges in 2022 would be to identify a path as to how we could modernize our facilities to provide our workers with a safe and professional environment that accommodated best practices. I say mission accomplished. We began 2022 holding workshops with our council with the goal of identifying together a long-term plan as to how we would begin to address challenges that we were facing in 4 facilities. A deteriorated police headquarters, a city hall that no longer meets operational needs, a community demanding indoor recreational programming space, including our senior center, and a service and parks facility that is more than 50 years old and cannot support modern operations. This past fall, we purchased this building that will meet 3 of those needs in one, and we did so in a way that will ultimately save taxpayers millions of dollars. Vision, planning, and action empowered us to take an existing resource and repurpose it to meet our needs. And we now have a building that will serve our city for generations of today and tomorrow.
825 Tech Center Drive, which is going to be our new home very soon, is really going to raise the bar in terms of who we are as a city, the services that we provide, being able to work in a facility that will finally provide the internal workings that are frankly necessary in a rapidly changing environment. 825 Tech Center Drive really frames a future for our organization, the Gahanna Division of Police, and truly the city as a whole. It really allows us an advantage in terms of not only recruiting, but retaining top quality law enforcement officers to serve the city of Gahanna. We're constantly competing with other agencies in Central Ohio and beyond for the best of the best. And this facility not only will allow us a pathway toward our accreditations, but it also gives us the ability to craft spaces that we simply don't have in our existing buildings now.
I'm really excited about getting over to 825 Tech Center Drive. If I was a newer officer and I had a choice between 2 or 3 different places, I would say, hey, look at the facility that you get to come to work to every day. Look at the training opportunities you have. We're trying to give you the best access to different facilities where you're going to feel like when you show up to work, we're going to expect your best because we're providing you the best. Your city is putting that investment into you to make sure that when you come to work, you're feeling like you have what you need to go and do the job and to serve our community to the best of your ability.
I believe that this new facility put Gahanna up on their high levels because everyone's competing. Everyone is looking for jobs and everyone's looking for the best place to be.
Training is critical in law enforcement today. 825 will allow us to have varied training spaces that will improve our officers' readiness. It will improve the services that they deliver. It will keep them at the forefront of policing. Frankly, we have no space here to even conduct a class of 4 or 5 officers. This will provide us a much greater ability to bring all of our officers together, to train as one department, bring in other agencies to assist us and to train together.
Training is a big part of our job, and having a new and bigger facility will help with that. And I think that's something that everyone's going to be excited to see and wonder what kind of space and opportunities they have for professional growth. I know I'm excited to start working there, and I know my coworkers are excited as well.
This complex that the city has been on, it dates back into the 70s. It's very congested. It's very outdated. It really hampers our ability to provide that best-in-class service that Gahanna expects, and we want to provide.
Gahanna really cares. They care about our officers. They really want us to do well by the community, and it just gives you that encouragement to make sure that you do.
I believe that we are a leader in law enforcement services. We lack facilities right now, but having a best-in-class facility, allowing the public to come into our doors, to interact with us, to be able to have a true sense of home for not only the Division of Police, but our Parks and Recreation, our many departments that service the community, our senior center, having us under one roof on one campus, the benefits are immeasurable.
Our work on 825 in the coming year is not going to slow us down in any way in tackling the critical infrastructure needs in the city. We will continue to see significant investment in addressing long-deferred maintenance of roadways and in modernizing intersections, while also remaining dedicated to maximizing opportunities for outside funding in order to reduce the spending and use of taxpayer dollars.
Right now, we're standing at the intersection of Taylor Station and Claycraft Roads in the city of Gahanna. This intersection experiences high delay with traffic at the signalized intersection behind me. We're going to be upgrading this intersection to a modern roundabout to ease the congestion in the area. With the roundabout, we'll be including multi-use paths, sidewalk. We have applied for and secured funding through the Ohio Public Works Commission to further the dollars that we're augmenting with our issue $12 to make these improvements. With the grant and loan, that gives the dollars available not only for this intersection, but other improvements that we're doing within the community. It's part of our street maintenance program, water line replacement. And having the grant loan, we are being efficient with tax dollars and leveraging opportunities where grants and loans are available to the community, seeking those out, applying and receiving those in the best interest of the community. This summer construction activity will rebuild residential streets, provide the mill and overlay, and preventative maintenance on local streets here in the city. We expect to receive bids first part of April, enter into contract with the successful bidder, enter into construction this late spring, early summer. In 2023, we anticipate a very fun and exciting and very busy construction season ahead.
We'll check back with Thomas. He thinks it's fun in like September. In 2023, ensuring the ability to provide the highest level of policing services to our residents will remain at the forefront of the goals of the Gahanna Division of Police. From investments in technology to improve overall communications, to pursuing national accreditation that affirms the division as a recognized leader in law enforcement, the division remains committed to being a best-in-class policing agency. That includes a focus on expanding recruitment to attract the best qualified candidates to serve our city. But in today's environment, with the growing needs in our community for mental health and addiction resources, recruitment will extend beyond the roles that are considered traditional policing.
In 2022, we identified the need to have a community liaison officer. And that was really to provide some continuity with many of our community stakeholders. And we filled it about mid-May with Officer Kelly Moffitt. We didn't quite realize just how busy she would be, but also just the immediate impact that she's had throughout Gahanna. And we've been able to identify some of our residents in need, whether it's food or shelter or being able to get proper medical care or mental health services especially. And we're just now understanding not only the depth of that position, but we've also identified some other gaps in the services that we provide and really the services that are available within Franklin County and the region. One of those is having a continuity of mental health care. Through the community liaison program, we quickly identified the need to have our own mental health clinician. In 2023, our plan is to attract a qualified clinician that will come on board, be a city employee, work hand in hand with our officers. If that clinician can provide and be that gateway, provide those services, connect service providers with those that are in need, that saves officer time and allows them to redirect toward the job duties that our community expects of police officers. Having an experienced mental health clinician that is a city staff member is crucial to providing immediate services to the public that frankly are no longer available.
In talking with Mifflin Township trustee Dick Angelo this evening and earlier with Chief Fred Kauser, I'm happy to share that the mental health clinician will not only support the officers of the Gahanna Division of Police, but will also work in close collaboration with the community paramedic program that is provided by the Mifflin Township Fire Department, further strengthening our city's relationship with our valued community partners at Mifflin Township. In 2022, a citywide survey was distributed as part of the ongoing project to refresh the comprehensive parks master plan for our Department of Parks and Recreation. More than 1,000 citizens provided information in response to that professionally conducted survey. Their responses overwhelmingly reaffirmed what we already knew, that our residents highly value our parks, trails, playgrounds, and recreational activities, as evidenced by the more than 3.6 million visits we had to our parks in 2022. 2023 will see significant investment and growth in our parks and in recreational areas that are of high import to our residents and that are vital to sustaining a high quality of life for our community.
The property behind me we refer to as the Price Roadhouse. It is a house that has been owned by the city for about 15 years. It's located next to our Big Walnut Trail. It's located next to a creek corridor. There's open park space. So we're able to use the assets that it actually sits on and bring that inside. One thing that the department is challenged with is providing year-round programming due to Ohio weather. So we're able to bring some of that excitement from the outdoors inside and create year-round programming. This house has a really solid foundation just for the structure of it, but also the foundation of where it's located. Also, we had the opportunity to apply for a state capital grant, and we're awarded $100,000. We will be requesting bids for the construction of the property. So for the entire year of 2023, we'll see the renovation actually come to life. We're extremely excited that the Big Walnut Trail is near completion. We're about a mile away from completing the regional trail that goes through the city of Gahanna. The project will be in coordination with the bridge expansion that is happening on North Hamilton over I-270. The Big Walnut Trail is something that repetitively has been recognized as a key feature to the city of Gahanna. Not only is it utilized for exercise, but it's also an opportunity for alternative transit. We noticed in COVID, the trail participation increased significantly, and we've seen that continue to thrive. The focus for the year of 2023 for the Big Walnut Trail is to review and submit for applications for alternative funding. The end goal is to get a completed project and to have the Big Walnut Regional Trail completed by 2026. It has been years in the making, and we're excited that we're on the cusp of seeing that completed. From there, we'll be able to continue connections, whether it be to the new library, to parks, to make a more walkable Gahanna. Several years ago, a resident group contacted the Parks and Recreation Department with a great idea, and this idea was to actually include a mountain bike trail into the inventory for the city. A mountain bike trail is unique to what the city has. We have nothing like it in our inventory. In the process of evaluating the actual ability to build a mountain bike trail at Academy Park, we had the ability to apply for a brownfield grant through MORPC. The grant gave us the ability to evaluate the site and make sure it was safe in order to accomplish what we're trying to do. In 2023, we're excited to see shovels in the ground. We'll actually see dirt being moved to get this project underway. The city of Gahanna has 17 playgrounds in its inventory, and those playgrounds need to be maintained. In most cases, those playgrounds have a lifespan of about 20 years. We're at that point that a lot of playgrounds are in need of restoration or replacement, and thanks to Issue 12, we're able to make some projects happen. In the last 3 years, we've accomplished 2 playgrounds, one at Headley Park and one at Woodside Green Park. We're proud that in 2023, we'll be underway with a full replacement of Ambassador Park Playground. I'm excited about the future here in Gahanna because the potential and the growth that we've already seen really in the past 5 years has been significant. So to see this and to be a part of what is going to continue is very exciting.
With growth happening at an exponential rate in the Central Ohio region, original projections from MORPC that called for the region to reach 3 million people by 2050 already have been increased. It is critical that we are prepared as a city as to how we will embrace and respond to the growth that is happening around us to ensure that we are not hindered but are helped by the changes that are happening. Gahanna is already reaping the fruits of this change. We have experienced historic economic growth over the last 2 years, and as I've said before, we're not slowing down.
So we are at the Crescent Essential Park, Gahanna's premier modern medical campus. Behind me is our brand new noon development project. It broke ground in October of last year. It's slated for completion probably sometime mid this year. It'll be a multi-tenant mixed-use opportunity focused on smaller practices. Over the past year, the Crescent has experienced a significant level of growth and interest. In 2023, what you'll continue to see here at the Crescent is what you're seeing here today, a lot of construction. From small boutique offices that will allow for the modern medical campus to continue to thrive, as well as the next phase of development will be larger scale offices mixed with a little bit of retail, But most and critically important is housing. As we've seen over the last 10 years, Central Ohio has been in a housing deficit, causing prices to continue to rise and lack of new inventory coming onto the marketplace. By incorporating housing as part of this pathway here, our ability to leverage not only affordable housing, but also attract and retain that workforce in the Gahanna community is the key differentiator. Every project today fights for residents and workforce. By combining those two key critical elements, workforce and housing, right here at the Crescent at Central Park, allows us to not only create a modern medical campus, but truly a community asset, allowing those workers to live, work, and invest right here in Gahanna. Regionally, we continue to see massive levels of industrial growth throughout all of Central Ohio. That's really influencing what Gahanna is doing today. We had 2 very large spec buildings going under construction. One of those is now fully leased. From an industrial perspective, Gahanna will continue to see growth in the area. Wages, job opportunities, needs for infrastructure improvement, brownfield revitalization. These will all be things that will drive industrial growth here long term.
So with the unprecedented amount of growth that we have had and are continuing to have in the city, we are making a conscious effort to protect the character of our city while we build a high quality of life for our residents, businesses, and workers alike. Ensuring that our community has a strong core, a vibrant downtown area that draws its residents and its visitors in and creates a central gathering place is essential to our long-term viability as a city. Redevelopment efforts of the Creekside District began back in 2021 for this purpose, and those efforts will be a significant focus for future growth and opportunities as we move into 2023 and beyond.
Creekside is critical to Gahanna's future success as it serves as our heartbeat. Downtowns across our entire state are the heartbeats of our communities, and Creekside is ours. If we're not making proper investments within our downtown area, we won't be able to continue to thrive and grow as a community. So it's critically important for us to continue to focus on the Creekside area, promote vibrancy, walkability, and a community sense of space. Over the past 18 months, the city has partnered with the Community Improvement Corporation of Gahanna to focus a lot of efforts into the Creekside area. This has included a planning opportunity with MA Design to go through a master strategy of what that could look like, as well as an assemblage and a request for proposal process that the CIC has led. Ultimately, the CIC has now purchased close to 4.5 acres of land, focusing that on redevelopment opportunities moving forward.
The CIC is the Community Improvement Corporation of Gahanna, and what it does is supports the administration and as well as the economic development team in planning so that we can have things happen quickly for the business community. And we do all kinds of different things the government doesn't necessarily can do. So that's really the role we play. 18 months ago, we started talking about the Creekside area. There's just commercial property everywhere, obviously, and we need to do some revitalization. We need to get things moving down there. We identified the properties. We had 11 parcels, about a little over 4 acres. We went through a proposal process. We also assessed what was the need of the city, what's the need of the community, and what could the Creekside, area give to the community and give back to the community, as well as guests and people that are coming here. Conceptually, what we would like to see is commercial space. So new businesses would come in. And then on top of that commercial space, we would have residential living so that people don't just come here, they can live here. And not only can you come here and visit, you can come here to live, you can do business here, enjoy all the amenities.
I watched Creekside being built. Our first home was right on the other side of the creek in Old Gahanna, and I always wanted to be a part of this community. I felt like it was really special for the location in Columbus as a whole. This part of Gahanna is fantastic, and it's great for guests, and there's so much to offer, but it's a little bit unrealized in that there's not enough for people to do down here. So I feel like the redevelopment opportunity will bring a lot more vibrancy down here. There's a lot of great businesses that need an opportunity to showcase what they can do, and there's a lot of great people that need more things to be entertained by. And adding more businesses to the area will kind of round out the whole place and give it more for residents to enjoy.
So we moved here in December of 2016 residentially and opened the shop in September of 17. And one thing with the barbershop, obviously it's traditionally a social hub. When people come in and we talk about events and just what's going on in the neighborhood, we hear from the people in an organic manner. For instance, the Creekside expansion, they like what's going on. They would like a more variety, you know, to have a little more boutiques and shops to go to.
It's a super exciting time out in Gehanna. And we hear over and over and over again about what the future of kind of Columbus as a whole looks like. And I think that leaves a really great opportunity for Gehanna because that just means growth for Gehanna. The thing I'm looking most forward to the redevelopment is really just kind of re-energizing the area. Just really kind of like being more of a destination that has a lot of energy and that people are attracted to.
I'm excited because I believe this is the heart of Gehanna as a downtown area, and I think the redevelopment will help us all realize that. It'll give more of the residents of Gehanna more to do in their own community. There's no reason to leave here. If we have what you need, why drive to anywhere else when you can have everything you need right here?
This is an exciting time in Gehanna. What's going to happen over the course of the next 2-3 years in this area, the revitalization, Gehanna is the place to be.
We're almost over. From the impactful project of 825 to the visionary redevelopment of the Creekside District, to initiatives that will improve and expand how we communicate with residents, we have been consistently framing the future for the people who live, work, and play in Gehanna. Later this year, we will see the launch of a new website, making information more accessible and easier to find, while expanding online services for the convenience of our residents and the people who do business with the city. In the coming months, we also will see the launch of our new service request portal. This will enable residents to report issues directly to the department responsible for the repair that is needed, enabling us to respond to you more quickly, to track repairs that are made, and to create even more transparency and accountability on the work that is being done for the benefit of our residents. There are hundreds of dedicated community members, employees, partners that have dedicated themselves to Gehanna's upward trajectory. The success that we have seen and are continuing to see requires strong collaboration, partnership, and communication. It also requires vision, planning, and action. I have every confidence that by working together, we can and will continue to build upon the foundation that has been laid for the future of the city of Gehanna. Despite storms that we have encountered along the way, the sun has been shining on our city, and the future is bright. I would like to thank the many people who helped to make this evening possible, to create an opportunity for us to engage with you in the work of our city. Thank you to Sierra Johnson for serving as our MC this evening and for sharing her uniquely Gehanna story as to how our community helped to shape her life and her career. Thank you to Tim Corliss, Gehanna resident, for his exceptional work and his extreme patience in producing the videos that you've seen tonight. Thank you to the many Gehanna restaurants that supported this evening's event and provided us with tasty treats. If you have not received any yet, hop on back over there. And obviously to our many community organizations I referenced earlier, thank you for sharing your time and all that you do for our community. On a personal note, I'd like to thank the first man, my husband, he deserves a round of applause. I think this is the longest conversation we've had in the last couple of weeks. But he has not seen me very much. So he's always there for me, and he enables me to do the work that I am able to do for you. And last but not least, a very special thank you to my incredible staff, who not only plied me with coffee all week to make sure that I can get through tonight, but who also devoted many, many hours to really pulling everything together for this evening and preparing this event tonight, and whose dedication to serving this city is immeasurable. You are truly blessed as a community to have the staff that you do at the City of Gehanna. They are experts in what they do, they are passionate about what they do, and they are doing it for you. Although I've been talking, thank you. Although I have been talking for a longer time tonight, I did warn you, we've given you just a glimpse. This really is just a glimpse of the work that has been accomplished and that is underway in building the foundation for the future of Gehanna. And there is much more work ahead of us to be done to continue what we have started. If you have any questions about what you've seen tonight, or any questions about what's happening in the community, please reach out. Our team and I stand ready to serve you. We stand ready to engage with you and answer your questions and be whatever help we can. I'm excited about the work that we have completed, and I look forward to the work we will complete in the future as we frame the future for Gahanna for the next generation. Thank you.
Wow. Another round of applause for the mayor. That was really, as someone who grew up steps away from Mill Street, seeing those visuals, it's mind-blowing to see how the city can transform in 20 years. Very exciting work by all of the Gahanna team. And as she mentioned, there are some community partners that were outside. A lot of, we have the composting, we have the restaurants, we have a lot of folks out there really willing to talk to you about what's going on in this community. So we do invite you to head back out and engage with the folks here in your community. So again, thank you. It has been truly an honor to serve as your MC, and I am so excited to be back in Columbus and to get to do this and to see what is going on in the hometown that I am so proud of. So thank you so much, and everyone get home safely. Have a good one.